Today, I'm going to show you how to clean up data by clipping vector layers and counting features within polygons. So here's where we're starting. In this example, we want to compare the number of landslides in Vermont basins that lead to Lake Champlain and show the main rivers in those basins and their relative discharge. Right now, we have basins, rivers, discharge, the Vermont outline, and all landslides in Vermont. You could interpret this image, but it's hard to read and it bleeds over into New York and Canada. So the first thing we're going to do to fix this is clip. What we're going to do is clip the subbasins and rivers so we can only see those that are in Vermont. So we're going to go under Vector, Geocomputing Tools, and Clip. And our input layer is going to be what we want to clip, so I'm going to keep it as my river layer. Then the overlay layer is our desired extent, so I'm going to put the VT outline layer. Finally, I'm going to type in a little file name so this saves and I don't have to worry about forgetting to save it later. Then, run. This could take a long time depending on how big your dataset is, but mine's pretty small. So now I have a new layer called Rivers VT, and I can uncheck my old main rivers layer, and now I only see the rivers that fall within the extent of the Vermont outline. Now I'm going to do the same thing for subbasins, so Vector, Geocomputing Tools, Clip, and my input layer this time is subbasins, and I still want to have the extent be the VT outline, so that's still my overlay layer. And now my file name. And again, you could just save that as a temporary layer, but I like to hit those little 3 dots on the side and save it to a file so I don't have to worry about remembering to save it later. And then I can hit run. And there we go. You can see our new subbasins layer is in purple. Uncheck that red old basins layer. And now I'm just going to go in and reorder things so my rivers are on top. And maybe I want to change the rivers to be blue instead of red so that you can actually see them and it makes a little more sense. You can do that by double-clicking and opening the symbology. And then the width of the line, there's a little box right there where you can increase the width, hit apply, and there you go. And I'm also going to move my little discharge points to the top so that they're on top of where the rivers end. And now I move my landslides layer on top so I can see those too. And this is a little better, but it would be nice to clearly see which basins have the most landslides. So that's where joining attributes comes in. One important note on this is because we are counting the number of points within our polygons or basins, we want to make sure we are using the summary version of the join attribute feature. So if you go to processing, then toolbox, a little box will pop up on the right. Now you can search for join attributes by location summary. And if you double click that, a window will pop up, and join to features in is going to be our layer of polygons or our groupings, which in this case is our clipped subbasins layer. And we want to select our features or landslides that intersect, are contained, overlap, and touch these basin polygons. And comparing to is going to be our layer of points that we want to count, which is landslides. Now we want to select a field to count. You could pretty much choose anything for this. You're choosing from a list of all the different attributes in your comparing to layer, which is the landslides. But I'm going to pick the object ID because I know every attribute in this table has an object ID. Then our summaries to compute is going to be count, so we get that number of landslides. Then type in a file name to be saved. And now I can hit run. And this process takes a little bit longer than the clipping, so I'm going to pause the video here and come back when it's done. And there we go. So now I can close that and I have my new layer. But we're not done yet. Our last couple of steps are going to be tidying this up. And the first thing I'm going to do is double click on that new joined layer and change the symbology. I'm going to change it to graduated, and when I go to select my value, I have a new field called object ID count, and that's just a count of all the landslides in each basin. And I like to classify by equal intervals, so I'm going to change that and classify. This makes it so the basins with the largest number of landslides are shown in dark red. If I hit apply, now I have my new layer. Now that I have this layer, I can uncheck my landslides layer and bring my rivers and discharge layers up to the top again. And now I can clearly see which basins have the most landslides. There's much less clutter and it's a lot more pleasing to look at. There you have it. That's how you can use the vector clipping and join attributes by location tools to help clean up your data. And here are the sources of my data with QR codes to the websites if you want to check them out. Thanks for watching.